Good morning. Good to be with you this morning. I'm in a very different location. I'm on St. Joseph's Island, just outside of Sault Ste. Marie. Visiting with my daughter, helping her actually put up a bunk bed. She's a foster mom, and so that's where I am for the weekend. And talking about rest and relaxation. Sometimes rest and relaxation can happen when you just simply change your venue and change what you're doing. So again, we're building on the four pillars of a healthy Christian leader, and those four pillars are healthy relationships, biblical financial values, biblical spirituality, and balanced living. And this week we've been dealing with balanced living, pillar number 4, and we've been focusing on the issue of R&R on Sunday. And so on Monday we did primary purpose for Sunday, and we talked about the fact that Sunday really is a day of rest. It's a day to get together with God's people, and that was the primary focus of Sunday. When you look at it from the church's perspective in the early church, and it wasn't the actual primary day of rest for the people of Israel, and nor for the Gentiles who became Christians at the time. And then we talked about rest and relaxation and just the significance of that. And that again, that oftentimes it happens on Sunday for us in our culture. And then when we put our rest and relaxation ahead of worship and the challenges that brings and the dangers that brings with it. And then yesterday we talked about balancing rest and relaxation and worship. And today we're going to talk about, basically I just want to say, just relax and don't be legalistic about this. And that's where sometimes people get, they want to get very legalistic on this issue of what you can and cannot do on a Sunday and all of that kind of stuff. Now, I hope you've had a great week. And I know I have, and I'm looking forward to a great weekend that is going to include some R&R, but also it's going to include gathering together with God's people for a time of worship, whether it's in person or it's via Zoom or via live streaming or some form of that. Certainly, I'll be involved in that this weekend myself as well, and I encourage you to be. So on Wednesday, I mentioned that I was going to tell a story from my life concerning sports and worship. And I was my daughter's baseball coach, or softball coach, actually, softball coach. And I coached her for a number of years. And I think it was either the first or second year that I was coaching her that we actually went all the way. And we won, a spot in the playoffs. And so we're entering the playoffs. And the playoff game, of course, is scheduled for Sunday morning at 11 a.m. And this was the first Sunday of the month. And we, of course, did communion. I was a pastor of the church, do communion on the Sunday morning. And so the question that I had to deal with was, where am I going to be? Where am I going to be at 11 a.m. Sunday morning? Am I going to be in church? Or am I going to be on the baseball field? Am I going to be with God's people and worshiping Him in that way? Or am I going to be with my daughter and fulfilling my commitment as coach to her? Well, I have to tell you that that first year I was in church. I was where I thought I had to be, should be, must be, and I was there, and I preached and then led communion and did all of those things. And my assistant coach, who was also a member of the church, he was at the game, and I believe we ended up losing that year in the finals. Is that because I wasn't there? I don't think so. But nevertheless, I wasn't there. The next year, it happened again. And again, we made it into the finals. And the finals was going to be at 11 o'clock Sunday morning. And I don't know if it was the first Sunday of the month or not. I think it was. I think it was, always around the same time in the year. And the question was, where was I going to be? And this time I said, you know what, I'm going to be at the softball field. We have enough men in the church who can preach and teach, who can lead communion, and we're in a denomination or a fellowship of churches where you don't have to be an ordained pastor to lead communion, and so really anybody could lead communion in their church. And so I chose to be where I thought I needed to be, which is on the field. And I can't even remember if we won or lost. And in the end, ultimately, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that the question is my choice. And did I make the right choice the first time and wrong choice the second time, or vice versa? And you can be the judge of that. I personally feel that I made the right choice the second time because I needed to be with my daughter and show her that she was more important than my quote-unquote job. Now, I know pastoring is not a job per se, it's a ministry, but there is a job aspect to it when it comes to relationships with our family. And in that case, I was putting my job ahead of my family the first time, and this time I put my family ahead of my job. Now, one of the problems that we face in the Christian life is that balance, the balance between legalism and license. Legalism, of course, is all about the rules. The rules say you need to do this, you have to do this, you got to be there, you have to be at church on Sunday. License is basically this idea that there are no rules, and I can just do whatever I want. And so if I feel like going to church on Sunday, I'll go to church on Sunday. If I feel like golfing or fishing or I feel like, then I'll just do that. And there is the balance there between legalism and license. And we need to be careful with that because the Bible teaches against both extremes. Both extremes are wrong. This idea that it's all about the rules and making people feel guilty if they miss a particular Sunday is not a good thing. But the other is also not a good thing, where we just simply say, you know what, I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'll go to church when I feel like it. But if there's something what quote unquote better comes along, then I'll go do that. And that's again, the Bible teaches against that kind of thinking as well. So it's neither legalism nor is it the licensing to just do whatever we want that we want to follow. We want to really be looking at the question of how can I serve God and serve Him well, even in my rest and relaxation, and how can I make that happen without compromising my need and responsibility to be with God's people. So today, as you go about your day, may you find the balance between rules and outright freedom. May you find that. And may we balance our R&R and our worship. Have a great weekend, and may the Lord bless you, and I'll see you on Monday.